What's up, guys? It's James again. The subject's supposed to speak. And so here we are. I'm about 6 videos in to this little experiment that I'd promised myself I would sustain. And so far I've sustained it. I have nothing in terms of a viewership yet. That's fine. I don't know how I'm going to grow it. I don't know if it's going to grow. It's just me talking about my shit and making these sort of ostentatious promises about me being able to use YouTube to essentially render something akin to a psychoanalysis on myself. And I'm starting to question whether or not it's even possible, and also whether or not it's desirable. And I guess the question of possibility is really interesting because the entire time I've been doing this, I'm doing it right now even, I'm noticing that what I've been doing is I've been looking at myself, right? I've been looking at this little corner video of myself in this Windows Movie Maker software, and it's like this sort of, there's a theoretical way of talking about this sort of thing. It's like I'm keeping myself stuck in the mirror stage. According to Lacan, this is a formative stage. He sort of stole the idea from Henri Wallon, who was one of his mentors briefly, I think. This is a formative stage wherein, there are many different glosses of it, but basically it's an infant or a toddler really, has to be a little bit more developed child, mentally developed, physically developed. When they first start to see themselves in the mirror, that sort of jubilation and excitement and the sense of mastery and control they get out of this is indicative of the fact that their ego is forming, and Lacan conceives the ego as an object, basically, and it's an object, an internal object, as it were, that is this sort of reflexive condition of us having a sense that we are acting and doing things effectively in the world. We're constantly monitoring ourselves and correcting ourselves in light of our ego observations, right? I sort of, without even having to think about it explicitly or thematically, I have these sort of reactions to the ways in which I act and the ways in which I perceive others are perceiving me, right? And this is this kind of primary narcissism that we never really escape. And I'm reminded of my time now spent with this, this little girl who, came on to me and tried to be close with me, who I ultimately, sort of rejected in an unhappy way. Even though I wanted to be close with her on some level, there's just a part of me that was just holding back. I'm reminded of a moment we spent together in the library at the college, and we were studying. We were finishing up a cram session. Idiotic way to study, by the way. And I noticed this little scar on her wrist. And I asked her what happened. And she described to me how she had this little insignia of some kind of, it was basically a clothing brand. And, you know, her friends sort of dared her to take the metal object with this logo on it, heat it up, and press it against her wrist. And she's like, yeah, I'm game. And they did it to her. Instead of putting the the image on there, it created this nasty scar. And I'm like, oh shit, wow, you let your friends do that to you? Oh my god. Um, and she immediately, at the at my judgment rendered against her, she immediately became self-conscious and was like, I was like, you poor girl. And she goes, yeah, I don't really like talking to people that much about that. She just was all embarrassed, and oh, I felt bad for coming down on her like that. And then she tried to show me this video of it happening, and I'm like, no, I'm not watching that on her phone. And yeah, I guess with that, I'm kind of starting to become clear as to at least part of the reason why I wasn't having it with her. Impulsivity that I'm not going to say I haven't found myself caught in, because I have. And that's sort of exactly what the issue was, I think, is that I didn't want to be dragged down. I was, at that point in my life, I was trying to sort of claw my way out of that sort of behavior, even though I was still married in it. That whole semester I was just slamming strong coffee like every day. Really stupid. Made me ill on at least one occasion. Just just not a nice way to treat yourself. Just taking a coffee drink that has close to a gram of caffeine in it. It's just a little extreme. But it's that kind of intensity and immediacy that I was craving. And she was just this fantastic little emblem of that, of this wildness and this spontaneity that just living in civilization and having to sort of accede to all these things that you don't really want to accede to, whether it's going to school, studying, a subject that doesn't really turn you on, so that you can gain a license or a certificate that's going to make you the kind of money that you need to really thrive, or whatever it is. That's just kind of a telling example of where I was at, I believe, during that semester. It eats at you. And then, for me, it was like this person, this very young, sweet girl came along, and was just had like this boundless enthusiasm for me, like, oh, hey, let's be friends, let's hang out, let's talk. She just immediately trusted me and just made herself vulnerable to me. It's like this perception she had that I was wiser and more powerful. It was just so intoxicating, this kind of closeness that she just immediately and just in the most natural, unself-conscious way had established with me. Just like we'd been friends since who knows when I didn't even know her when she came back in my life. I'd spoken with her once. Hadn't even spoken with her. I'd heard her speaking to me, and I didn't respond. It was 6 years ago when I first met her. And it was like right there, she was like this little avatar for just being this free-spiritedness and this carefreeness and this just unburdened by the sorts of tortured reflections that occupy my mind and stifle me and keep me from just enjoying myself in the moment. she was just like this promising antidote and foil to all of that. And I just couldn't let her in. You know, so many different chances she gave me. And I just bungled every single one. Every single one. And, you know, then once she was disinterested, that's when I started to sort of pursue her in this imaginary false way. Text messages and stuff. And that was terrible. The place that took me to inside my own head was just awful. Um, but I don't know. I mean, the investment, the overinvestment, points to something that I'm starting to get a grasp of at this point, and that's that my investments in the world were inadequate, which is why I kind of didn't really fall prey to her per se. I mean, she was a girl, and she played her girly games, and she was all very flattering and very enamored of me, and all of that was just very exciting, obviously, but I don't blame her at all. She was just doing what she knew. Um, she liked me. Uh, I do blame myself for not doing the things I need to do to really give me fulfillment in life. Um, and I guess that's kind of what the theme of this video might just end up being, when I think to how I just called out for work for tomorrow for like it's been like the third time in a row. I think I've just been calling out because I've had a sinus infection that's not going away, and every time I come back to work, they want me to work at 12. This is my security job at the nameless big biotech firm where they feel like it's cool to just completely exploit their their bottom tier personnel and just employ contractors and just do all kinds of to me it's just, these constitute essentially, if not unethical, then just mean-spirited business practices. But I mean, if that's not the way things work there, that was part of the reason why it was so easy for me to get the job, so I can bear that in mind. But still, it's just indicative of the world we live in. It's like you can't, a lot of people there do get by on that blue-collar work-a-day deal, but, and they're also content with being fat and not exercising and having what to me would seem an extremely poor quality of life. Everybody dates everybody in the security department over there. Like, they're all paired up because they have to be, because they're there for 50, 60 hours a week, and they don't really have much by way of lives outside of there as a consequence. Well, there's some people who work part-time there who are students. Some people are really trying to move forward with their lives and stuff, but it's just, at this point, it's just abysmally depressing for me. And I'm not sure if it's the depression from the work and its menial nature that's prolonging the illness, or if it's the illness that's making obviously making me depressed, which these kinds of infections are, when they become chronic or prolonged, this is a common side effect. The extent to which they diminish one's quality of life is huge. And obviously the fact that I've missed so much work, probably nearly 2 weeks of it so far, sporadically. I came back for 3 days. Now I've been gone. I'll be gone. I'm planning to be gone until this next coming Thursday, uh, at the earliest. And yeah, I don't know. It's late and I'm tired now. I wasn't tired earlier. Before I called out, I was not tired. I was anxious. Just thinking about going back to work tomorrow. Just, it was almost midnight. I was nowhere near good enough to fall asleep. I have other work at the law firm that I can work on remotely from home for the next couple of days. A bunch of cases that I can really dig into. Starting to dig into one today, and I remembered, the extent to which I actually enjoy the work, formulating the arguments, and reading through the prior art, coming to these conclusions, and representing my clients before the Patent and Trademark Office, and that was kind of fun to dig back into that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I keep looking at myself over here, and I wonder to what extent that's just kind of harming this process, and whether or not it's just preventing me from projecting in the way I need to, so I can, not be so focused on my image and how I'm coming off. That's ultimately going to sort of stifle this process. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this video window now. I'm just going to talk right at the camera, and I want to just conceal these icons, in fact, so I don't have to see them. And I think what I'll just do is turn my monitor off for now. And now I'm just staring at a blank black screen. And this is, okay, this promises to be perhaps a little more fruitful. I'm going to close my eyes, and we're going to see what comes to mind now. Yeah, she's still on my mind, the girl. She's still with me every day, just haunting me. It's fucking terrible. I wanted so bad to be close to her. It scared me. It's like having a daughter or a sister who wanted to get with me. I never had a little sister. Obviously, I've never had a daughter either. But it was just so intoxicating to be able to share with her, and to do, our stupid lab experiments together, just to share space with her, and to interact, and to watch her goofy little mannerisms. And, she was such an expressive little wild child. There was so much intelligence there. However much she kind of, was flaky, and, was so uncommitted to the process of furthering her education. She was a little miracle. She was an awesome little girl. It's like it's impossible for me to let go of her. It's just so, it just seems so cruel and stupid. These sort of impersonal things about me, this tendency towards cynicism, mistrust, and shame and spitefulness, all of which has just sort of become this sediment that's just, sort of piled up inside of my heart over the years, from just, me sort of failing in life, or perceiving that I failed, and, me experiencing rejection, and, looking at the form my family has taken over the years, and, contemplating how much different things might have been, and to me should have been. It's just made me weary. And I know part of that weariness is just a reflection of the fact that I failed to commit and sustain a commitment towards something that I can really get behind and believe in. Not just something that I can make money doing, but something that just answers to these desires that I have to be a part of something greater than myself. I had my interview with this jiu-jitsu gym tonight, hoping that I get the job. It was interesting, you know, they were very positive, kind people, it seemed, you know, a Brazilian guy and his sister, and another Brazilian who was sort of, you know, the resident black belt. Well, the guy who ran the business with the sister, you know, was a purple belt, and, you know, they talked to me and they were all very positive, and we trained, we sparred. They basically kind of sized me up. The black belt I rolled with first. I got some nice sweeps on him, changed positions. I think I even might have mounted him or come close at some point. And by that time, you know, given how sick I've been lately and how I haven't been exercising for maybe the past 3 weeks at this point, there was just, when I rolled with purple belt, I was completely exhausted. And he just manhandled me at that point. You know, it's been me multiple times. My technical prowess was just completely off. I didn't, you know, I was so tired that, like, to try and really gain any ground on him was almost impossible. I don't think I passed his guard once. I don't think I swept him once. I think, you know, this guy's a lot smaller than me. The best I managed was to pull him into my guard. And he made a show of me. Knee barred me, arm barred me, Kimura, all these different things. And I haven't trained in maybe 6 years. So, you know, it kind of stands reason, but also, just given that I was completely exhausted, it was hard for me to mount much by way of a defense, let alone an offense. So they say they're going to get back to me. I'm not too optimistic about it. I didn't put on the best show. I think the black belt was just kind of taking it easy on me. But I don't know. To be able to do that on a sort of part-time basis, get paid $1,400 a month, I could leave the security gig where I stand to make a lot more, but it's not worth it. Given the hours, given the having to come in at 3 a.m. and work 12-hour shifts, it's just on my feet for 12 hours a day. Are you kidding me? It's just way too much, especially given that I've been sick. If I hadn't gotten sick, maybe it would have been tolerable enough. But at this point, I'm just kind of prolonging my illness by coming back to work, you know, too early. That's what I've done anyways. I don't know what else. Yeah, I feel crappy right now. It's interesting to just sort of get my ass kicked. It just kind of woke me up a bit. I start to realize that this is something I've been missing. You know, it was just it wasn't maybe something of a blow to my ego, in the sense that I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'll come in and I'll see what this is about. I'll try and really nail these guys. And I got handled by somebody whose belt rank wasn't really much higher than mine, you know, blue belt, 4 stripes. And he's a purple belt, and it just made me realize, you know, I've been out of training for so long, and, you know, by now, if I'd stuck with it, I would have had, you know, my black belt in jiu-jitsu, no question. You know, it would have been 10 years. That's pretty much normative time to a black belt, especially for someone who's fairly skilled, like which I was, um, or just inclined to it. Uh, and now I'm thinking to myself, part of the reason I've become so invested in all this nonsense, whether it's eating out every day, spending money on these compensations, for what ought to be an abiding commitment, and me giving something back, and making a big effort in life, and really trying, making a good faith effort, um, to advance my cause, my agenda, um, to commit to something that I really, would love and enjoy. Uh, all these things, all these compensations, they could vanish in a moment if I were to get back to doing jiu-jitsu on a regular basis. If I were to stick with it this time and to not just fall off the horse, when things aren't quite going my way. There's a point at which I was training for free at one of my old schools, and the instructor was an asshole, so I don't blame myself for leaving, but it's funny the way he tried to sort of hold on to me. He was like, no, dude, I know what it means to be mistreated, and that's what you've done to me. Um, and then it makes me think of the girl and how basically I mistreated her. I just did not take her emotions or feelings into consideration the way I was acting towards her. When she wanted to be close to me, I just kind of kept shutting her down and deferring it, and, making her feel in some way like she was somehow deficient. And, without saying it explicitly, and I know that none of that was very loving, nothing that was very kind. The fact that she, kind of just decided she was done with me at some point, it makes perfect sense. I don't know. I think that that's what's lacking in my life, is my ability and willingness to really love people in kind. It's been an awful thing for me to have to confront how selfish and shitty I can be in a really malignant way. How self-absorbed and insistent on, the inadequacy of everything and everyone around me, all the while I'm not paying close enough attention to my inadequacies, and what it is that I'm failing to do, whether for myself or for, the person who's taken an interest in me. And I guess that's a very difficult thing to confront, but I suppose I'm confronting it now again. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take. I'm not sure where this road is going. I'm scared. I'm scared of where I might end up. I'm scared of my inability to take a hold of some life project that, you know, could promise to sort of redeem things for me and to get me on a track to where I know I'd feel good about myself and what I'm doing. And I guess it just kind of begins with me needing to be honest with myself about things and to not distract myself and to not sort of squander my resources and my time. I mean, the whole army thing is still very much on my mind. I'd like to go. I feel like somehow being enfolded into that community it could end up being the best thing for me. terms of me finding some kind of discipline that forces me to behave respectfully to myself and to others in every context imaginable. And I just feel like that would spill over to my personal life and help me not to, not to escape. I was going to say, help me not to keep pushing all these girls away, not to keep. None of them are yours to keep. Yeah, can't hold on to people. They need to go, they need to go. Why is that so hard? It's like you meet somebody who makes you feel good and you want to be around them forever, but it can't be that way all the time. It's very rare that that can happen. That does happen. And not only is it rare, but there have to be conditions in place, practical and otherwise. And I do that. I knew that very well. Going into this thing with this little emotional journey with this girl, I knew that I was not in the place that I wanted to be in, to be able to let her in, to be able to give her what I would have wanted to give her. But, by the same token, I don't think she expected anything from me other than what she just wanted me to say yes to her, to come close to her. It's just so hurtful for me to think that, life gave me that chance to fill this dream, because I'd been dreaming, I dreamt of her. I wanted to be close with her. Life gave me this chance to do that, and I just completely fucked it up. Not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but just like refusing her advance, refusing her desire to be close to me, refusing to take a decisive step towards her and say yes to you too. And it's just one of those things that it's going to be with me for the rest of my life. And there's no real medicine for the regret that I feel, and for the fact that I will always regret not letting her in. It's like people tell me, oh, she'll just be a fart in the wind at some point. You'll forget about her. Just give us some time. No, none of that's really true. I mean, yeah, she will fade from my memory. I'll stop thinking about her all the time. Maybe at some point I'll find somebody else. Maybe at some point I'll fuck that up too. But I don't know. This whole thing that I went through with her was just, it was something that I won't ever forget. Maybe until I'm old and gray and ready to die. But yeah, she was a really special girl. Wonderful heart. And just the sense of adventure. This boyishness that was like the most beautiful thing. She just wanted to do what I did. She wanted to go into the ocean with me. She wanted to be a part of that world that has been this kind of consolation and this source of so much awe and wonder. It's like, yeah, I never hooked up with her, and that's obviously on my mind. That sucks, but even more than that, so much more than that, the fact that I never I had the chance, but I didn't ever take her. Well, I mean, by the time we had made plans, she decided, I think, that she was done trying to be close to me. Saying she had to spend time with her family or something like that. And maybe she did. Maybe she was just scared of me at that point and how erratic I'd been acting. And she was probably entirely right to be scared, given how ambivalent and how scared I was of her. But the fact that I never got to take her and to go with her into the ocean, and to dive with her, and to share something that's so special to me with her, that's what hurts the most. It was like there was someone, a woman, a girl, who would redeem this fantasy that I have, this very, very false and damaging notion that somehow I can substitute for intimacy and closeness with a woman, with a human being, by sort of immersing myself in in the ocean, and the mother of all life, this symbol for femininity, wild, impetuous, stormy, beautiful, all of these adjectives that can be used to describe the ocean, describe women, accurate descriptors for a woman and her wild roaming heart. And it's like I'm the fool for attempting to tame that. It's that's what I'm seeing now, and for believing that somehow, yeah, the ocean can be a substitute for that, for me, for slaking that longing, because it's like I have to figure out a way to say yes to a woman's wildness. It's not a question of me gaining some kind of mastery and some kind of skill per se in terms of coming on to women. It's just, when you're feeling good about yourself and you're in the moment, that part is just easy. It's coming off the right way. You get too reflective about it, it becomes ridiculous. But what's of interest to me is, when a woman says yes to me, I need to learn to just say yes back, to let her be a little impulsive, a little wild, to let her take the lead, to let her grab a hold of me and say, yeah, we're going to do this thing. Or to just, when she asks me if I want to be closer, just to say yes. Just to give myself that permission. Somehow my entire life, it's been the hardest thing to just step up and take what's already been offered to me. It's so much love, and I've missed out on it. I don't want to miss out on it anymore. Whatever the circumstances of my life are, however much I tend to freak out because, this probably won't go anywhere good. Who cares? Connect. Let that ease your pain. Let the enjoyment of loving someone, even if only momentarily, let it remind you of the sort of intensity that makes life worth living. I know that that's what I need to learn to do. I don't know exactly what it's going to take. I know I need to get up on my own 2 feet. And I need to start taking better care of myself. Caring more about my future. I know that needs to be my major concern right now. But along the way, I know I need to just be able to say yes. when girls come my way, girls that want me, that think so highly of me, and you know, are just so overwhelmed with me. And there's been so many. And I've said no to almost all of them. And I think we should probably stop right there. Wow, that monitor's light is very bright. That should be enough for me to get some rest now. And alright, we'll see you guys next time.